Hello everyone, I'm Mr. Disaster and welcome back to the channel. We have been breaking down and trying out this new PvP multiplayer game known as Marvel Rivals, trying to see if it is in fact the Overwatch killer. I've only played a few matches and only played for like a day, so I can't, say for certain yet, and it's going to take a while to really get there. But in this video, I decided to break down the controls that I have for this game, because for those of you that are unfamiliar, back when I was making Overwatch content on the channel many years back, I had a unique controller and control setup for the heroes and just playing the game in general. Now, I'm not nearly as much as an expert on all these characters as I was in the Overwatch game, so it's really just going to be an overall overview of how my settings are for all the heroes in one setting. What I mean by that is, like, I'm not going to go in and just do Moon Knight controls and then have it different from other characters. It's all just going to be the same. Although I'm playing as Moon Knight, if I switch over to another character, it is just going to be their controls as well with the button inputs. I am playing on a PS5, so you will have to use these settings in accordance to the buttons of your controller if you're playing on console. If you're playing on PC, this is not going to be a useful guide whatsoever. Alright, so we're going to go into settings. What you want to do is you want to go to controller combat. And I have the horizontal and vertical sensitivity set to 250. I cranked it all the way up to 500. It was way too much, so I halved it. I believe the original for controller is 175, but 250 seems really nice and smooth when I used it. In addition, I went down to advanced, and I went down and put the aim assist all the way up at 100 for everything. If you're playing crossplay like me, there's no need to have this lower. I mean, you want to have as much strength in aim assist as possible because they're going to be using mouse to click your head off. So if you have the tools there, why not use it? What's really interesting and what really makes this, special when it comes to controls and stuff is when you go down to batch swapping. You hit optimize, and here's where you can switch your button layouts for heroes. So what I did was I went here and I made all movement abilities that were basically the L1 button. So you click L1, and I switched it so you would press in the left analog stick. The reason why I did this is because it just felt right for like movement and grappling and stuff. You're already pointing in the direction you want to go. Just press in and you will launch your character. You don't have to move your fingers or think about where your finger placement is in this setting. So then you apply to heroes, and then you select all and apply. Now, once again, each hero might feel a little bit different, and you can play around with that. But there's so many heroes, it's good just to have this overall setting in place first to get that muscle memory down, and then fix later. The next thing that I changed was jump. The jump button, which is X on PS5, I believe it's A on Xbox. I switched that to pressing in the right stick and applying that to all heroes. And what this does, and I'll show you by backing out, is when you're on controller, if you have to take your thumb, I should say, off the right analog stick to jump, you can't move around. You can't jump and shoot. You can't jump and, aim at enemies. You have to completely move your thumb off and become static. So, by leaving the jumping to the thumbstick, you can jump and shoot, you can move around, and it just makes it a lot more simple to attack enemies and do things that way. So, that is something to consider. Now, when it comes to your reticle setting, it doesn't really matter. It's what you prefer. I personally have a dot with 100 width, so it's a really thick dot with a pretty low occupancy, but enough for me to still see it. And I made it green just because green pops out when you are, hovering over an enemy and they're highlighted in red. That green will pop out because they're contrasting colors, so you know exactly where you're aiming at. Now, I had this saved, and I don't know why it didn't save it. So I think it's because I didn't save as new. Let's just save as new. We're going to call this first, because my preferences could change later, right? I spelled first completely wrong. There we go. Confirm. Alright, so that is something that you need to do, I just realized, in order to keep the settings for your reticule. So make sure you save it and name it and all that stuff. So that's important. Now, what you do with it isn't, that's up to you, that's up to your preferences. So see how the green isn't too intrusive on screen, but it does pop in front of red highlighted enemies. I don't even remember what his... Oh, wow. Okay. You're timed for his ultimate. That's irrelevant, though. So, yeah. In conclusion, to wrap things up, when you're playing on controller and on console, it's good to have aim assist all the way up. There's nothing wrong with that. Do not feel shamed for doing so. Everyone else is doing it. And if the tools are there, then it's not cheating whatsoever. That's my first take. My second tip is to press in the L stick to do types of movement. For some characters, it's not as, noticeable. But for example, if I switch over to Spider-Man, I can now just look up and then press in with the L stick and swing. So it feels more natural when you're actually doing it. Change your melee to your old jump button, so either X on PlayStation or A on not GameCube, A on Xbox, and then make your jump pressing in the right stick. So that way you can jump around and still attack people. I didn't know Spider-Man had aerials like this. That's a little bit jarring. But yeah, those are the settings that I have right now for Marvel Rivals. How about you guys check it out and let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think I need to change any of these settings? I think it works out pretty nicely, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'm Mostly Disaster, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. See ya.